Okay guys, welcome to a brand new video. Now this lesson is on reflection of 2D shapes. Now what is reflection? Reflection simply means a flip of a shape on a 2D coordinate. Now for us to fully describe a reflection, you must write reflection, that's 1 mark, and you must give the equation of the mirror line. Alright, so this is 1 mark in exam, another 1 mark in exam. So that's how to fully describe a reflection. Alright, now these are the laws of reflection. So we are going to look at the laws very soon. Okay, so it says if you are reflecting along the x-axis, my x comma y becomes x negative y. If you are reflecting along the y-axis, which is x equal to 0, your x comma y becomes negative x comma y. Now if you are reflecting along this diagonal line, y equal to x, x comma y becomes y comma x. Okay, and lastly, along the line y equal to negative x, so x comma y becomes negative y negative x. So we are going to look at these laws in details. Okay, now this is the equation we have here. Now we are given this diagram, this grid. Now we are asked to draw the reflection of triangle T in the line y equal to 5. Now the first thing I'm going to do here is to draw my mirror line. Okay, it's called mirror line. So this is the mirror equation, y equal to 5. And as you know, this is going to be a horizontal line. Okay, it's going to be a horizontal line because it's on the y-axis. So I'm going to draw my mirror line. So y equal to 5. So this is the mirror line. Okay, so you draw that mirror line at y equal to 5. You get. Now the next thing you are going to do after drawing that mirror line is to now reflect triangle T. Now the way this is done, you are going to do it point by point. Now for this vertex, for this point here, so you count the distance from that point to the mirror line. This is 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 boxes, right? So I'm going to count 3 boxes in the opposite direction. So which is 1, 2, 3. So this is the image. This is the image of this point. I hope you get the concept. So this is the image of this point here. Okay, now for this point right here, you count the distance from this point to the mirror line. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to count 4 boxes, in the opposite direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be here, right? That's it. Now for this last point, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to count 4 boxes that way. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be here. So this is simply how to do reflection. So simply by counting, counting the distance from each point on the triangle or on the object to the mirror line. Okay, and you count that same distance on the opposite side. You get. So I'm going to join this point. So this is the image. So I can call it T prime. So this is called the image, and this is the object. Okay, so that's it. Now, one thing you have to observe is that this middle line, the equation is y equal to 5, right? Now the distance from that middle line to the image and the object is the same. Alright, so that is it. Now for this question, we are given this diagram. Now we are asked to fully describe. It says describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle T onto triangle U, right? So now triangle T is right here, triangle U is right here. Now if you look carefully, you will see that this is a flip. It's a flip. Alright, so for that reason triangle T has been flipped to get you, right? So that is a reflection. That's a reflection. So now don't forget, I said that for us to fully describe a reflection, you must write reflection for 1 mark. So I'm going to write reflection. So this is 1 mark in the IGCSE exam, reflection. Then you must write the what? The equation of the mirror line. So you write reflection along, you get along. So now let's now get the mirror line equation. So now this point here correspond to this point here, right? So you have to look for corresponding point. Then you count the distance between the corresponding points. I'm saying that from here now, I will count 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, so I have 4 bosses between this and this corresponding point, right? So the mirror line should go in between them. So this is the mirror line, of course, because the mirror line must go in between. You get in between 2 corresponding points. So this is of course the mirror line. Okay, now if I use another point, like let's use this point above. This point corresponds to this point, right? Now let's look at the what's it called, the number of boxes between them. From here now, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my mirror line must be in between, so meaning 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is correct. So the equation of this line, this is a vertical line, okay, is on the x-axis. So the equation of this line is s equal to what? What number is here? 1. S equal to 1, okay. So this is the equation of the mirror line. So along, I just write along the line, s equal to what? 1. So this gives us the complete 2 marks. This is 1 mark. This is under 1 mark. So now let's take this question. The triangle PQR has coordinates. So you can say PQ and R. PQ and R. Now A says we should rotate triangle PQR by 90 degrees about the origin. Now mind you, the origin is 0, 0, right? That's the origin. Now I'm gonna use what we call rotation laws. Yeah, okay. Now since I'm not working with a tracing paper, so now the law for rotation of 90 degree clockwise, okay, 90 degree clockwise about the origin. Now it has a law. Now this is a law. Rotation 90 degree clockwise. Alright, so here it is. You can see. So now for 90 degree clockwise, now the law says that xy becomes y negative x. You get? So I'm going to apply that very law. Now the law says xy, okay, becomes what? Y negative x. You get? So you are meant to know those laws, okay, just in case you are not working with a tracing paper. So you use the law to solve. Now I'm going to do this point by point. All right. Now for me to rotate this triangle PQR without without a tracing paper, mind you, without tracing paper, I have to apply that simple law. All right, so I can just do it right here like this. So this is my point P. You get, my point P has -1, 1, right? Then my point Q has what? 1, 1. Then my point R has what? 1, 2, right? So after I rotate, applying the law. Now don't forget this is about the origin. So my point P prime is going to be P prime. Now the law says that you have to switch the X and Y. So now for this P now, meaning I'm going to bring 1, then bring -1 like this. So I switch the place of X and Y, you get. Now the law says you are going to put a minus sign. Look at the law here. Put a minus sign on the X part. So which means this one become plus. So the answer is now 1, 1. So this is the image using this law. Okay. Now let's do the same thing for point Q. Now point Q is 1, 1, right? So I'm going to switch. So I'll still get 1, 1. The law says you should put a minus sign on the X. So minus sign will be here. So which means the image, my Q prime, image of Q is 1, -1. Now for this point R, I have 1, 2, right? The law says you are going to switch. You take 2, 1. After switching, you have to put a minus sign on the X, which is like this. So the image, my arrow prime, the image of arrow will be 2, -1. That's all. So now I'm just going to plot this new point on the grid. So I have P prime 1, 1. So where's that? 1, 1 is going to be here. So this is my P prime. Then my Q prime is 1, -1. 1, -1 is going to be here. So this is my Q prime. Then my arrow prime is 2, -1. 2, -1 is right here. So this is my arrow prime. So just connect the point with a line. So this is the rotated triangle. Now you can see that I did this without using a tracing paper. All right. So I applied the rotation law. Okay. So this is the first one. Now we are asked to say label your image P prime, Q prime, arrow prime. Of course, this is P prime, Q prime, arrow prime. So that's the first one done. All right, then now let's now take the other one. Let's solve B. Now B says reflect your P prime, Q prime, arrow prime in the line y equal to -x. So this is a diagonal mirror line, y equal to -x, diagonal mirror line. So now I'm reflecting my image here. Okay, now that line, this line y equal to -x, now when I plot it, the line goes like this. The line goes like this. Okay, so whatever, so if x is, let's say x is 1, y will be -1. So okay, so the line goes like this. So that's the line y equal to -x. So this is a diagonal line that goes like that. So y equal to -x. Now we are trying to reflect this triangle P prime, Q prime, arrow prime along this line. So this point Q prime is an invariant point. Okay, is an invariant point, so which means it will not move, it will not be reflected, it stays right here. So I'm going to reflect only point arrow prime and what? Arrow prime and P prime. Yes. Now the distance from arrow prime, so you are going to draw a perpendicular line from arrow prime to a middle line. So like this. So draw that line like this. So make sure the line is perpendicular to the middle line. All right. So you can see that this is like, you know, a full line like that. So I'm going to draw the same length here on the opposite side. That's how to reflect along that line like this, perpendicular line. So this of course is my arrow prime prime. So this is the image, this is the reflected image of arrow prime to be here. So the reflected image of Q prime is also here because it did not move. It's the invariant point. Now let's reflect point P prime along that middle line. So which means from P prime you are going to draw the perpendicular line from P prime down to the middle line like this, like that. The angle here has to be 90, you get. So this is two box. So I'm going to draw two balls in the opposite direction like this, like this. So this is my P prime prime. So this is the reflected image of P prime. All right. So I'm going to connect everything together. So let's connect with a red pen. So I'm joining P prime prime to Q prime prime, then to arrow prime prime, like that. So this red triangle is the reflection of this triangle here along that line. So that is the answer. So this is the mark scheme. You can see for the mark scheme for that B, it says triangle at -1, -1. So let's see. You can see that my point P prime prime is at -1, -1. Correct. Then 1, -1. Where's that? 1, -1. That is the Q prime prime. Then last one is 1, -2. X1, then -2. That's arrow prime prime, which is correct. So my reflection is correct. Now, but let's look at how we can also solve this reflection part by using reflection laws. Okay. Now, instead of me doing this whole thing, I can use this law. So that's the essence of this law. This law right here. Okay. Now let's apply it. So now for the last one, reflection along y equal to -x. This is what happens. This is what happens. So you simply switch the coordinate and attach negative sign on both. Now let's see how it happens. Don't forget, I'm trying to reflect. I'm trying to reflect what? Triangle P prime, Q prime, arrow prime, right? So I'm reflecting this along y equal to -x, right? So this is what I'm trying to do here. Then for P prime, now the coordinate of P prime is 1, 1. So 1, 1. Now from the law we saw here, so reflection along this y equal to -x, what happens? You are going to switch the letters and put a minus sign on both. So which means that the image after deflection along this line will now be, I'm going to switch. If I switch, I'll get 1, 1, right? I'll put minus, minus, minus. Wow. So this is my P prime prime. Now you can see it's here, it's correct. H is -1, y -1 is correct. So let's do the same thing for Q prime. Now the Q prime is 1, -1. So 1, -1. Now the law says you should switch. If I switch this, I'm going to have -1, 1, right? Then if I introduce those minus sign, here become plus, here will take minus. So which means my q prime prime is just 1, -1. That's all. So this is the image, the reflected image of q prime. Now let's verify that from my previous work. So q prime prime is also here. You can say is 1, -1. It's correct. This is correct. This is correct. Now the last one is, let's reflect arrow prime. Now arrow prime is 2, -1. So I have 2, -1. Now if I reflect that, I'm going to get arrow prime prime, right? The law says you switch the coordinates. So I have -1, 2. And you bring in minus sign in both. Here become plus, here become minus. So I have 1, -2. That's all. Now let's check that my arrow prime prime must be 1 and -2. You can say 1 and -2, so it's correct. So these laws here, okay, they work like magic. So they save you the stress of drawing this line, you know, this line. So you can either use that method, or you can either draw this line and solve. You are going to get the same answer. Okay, all right. Now for C, you say describe fully the single transformation which maps triangle PQ arrow to P prime prime Q prime prime arrow prime prime. So which means I'm looking for the single transformation that will map this first object, okay, triangle PQ arrow, that will map that one to this final image. You get? So you can say, if you look carefully, now you see that there is a flip. There's a flip here. So, and that flip is reflection. So triangle PQ arrow has been flipped, you know. So now, because the deflection, how do you describe a reflection? You are going to write reflection. Don't forget, for 1 mark. Then you must give the mirror line. So reflection along. How do I get the middle line? So you are going to count. Now you look for 2 corresponding points. So this point P here, this point P correspond to P prime prime. You get? So now let's get the line that goes in the middle of those points. From point P I have 1, 2. You see? From here I have 1, 2. So which means that this x-axis is the middle line, of course, because the x-axis is like in between those points, right? In between point P and point P prime prime, right? So that's it. So which means you can write reflection. You can write reflection. Hold on. Okay, then you give your middle line reflection along, all right, along you can write x-axis is allowed, x-axis. So this is the answer. Or now the x-axis is also y equal to 0. So either you write along x-axis or along y equal to 0. They are the same thing. Now look at the mark scheme. You have reflection in the x-axis. So that's, now you can see you have B1. So B1 means one mark for writing reflection, another 1 mark for writing x-axis or y equals 0. All right. So I want you to pause the video and attempt this task. Okay. So you can post your answers in the comment section. All right. So